Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Fritz. I am from Germany, also a very German name, and I grew up in a little village in the southwest of Germany, surrounded by forests, rivers, and quite some agriculture. And I had the pleasure, to have a carefree childhood there, lots of time outside. But I really missed adventure, so I left afterwards, and I didn't come back for 10 years. I spent some time being an au pair. I did some studies in languages and economics. I went to be a volunteer at the Olympics, which turned out to be a really, really tough time. And then I started studying in the end my master's at Utrecht University in 2017, which came after being lost for almost 1.5 years, where I didn't really know where I could find my purpose and my belonging. So I did have the study in languages and economics and social sciences, but I felt it missed the link to sustainability. At that time, sustainability became more and more urgent. In 2013, there was the crash of Raya Plaza, of the clothing factory. And all these things led to me doing changes in my personal life, but it also led to the fact that I didn't really like any of the jobs that I could do in the industry. Just communication, marketing, just didn't seem so right. So I was really struggling with finding a path for myself. Um, and I did get lost on the way, but I did find a master at Utrecht University after having done an internship at the Green Tech Festival in Berlin, which is a huge festival nowadays.
Hmm.
And I'm really lucky because at 2 years at Utrecht University, the structure, but mainly the input and the diversity of the students, but also of the instructors, really empowered me.
Mm.
And I got to know Local to Local as a student, and I started there, which combined, I think, my feeling for home, which is connected to food, to nature, um, and the new things I had learned through the years, like the diversity of people, different cultures, and sustainability. And this is where it all came together in the end by me working at Local to Local. Yeah, this is a favorite story of mine because it was thanks to this Tasty, the Utrecht University Sustainable Food Festival, and me thinking that it would be a great career to try out running a food truck. And my friends, my study colleagues, Chris and Danica, um, had met Mark and Mark
Mhm.
from EMT and Local to Local at Sustainable Pathways in, I think, 2017, 2018. I'm not quite sure. And they found out that they have the same passion for food, and that Chris and Danica really wanted to set up a program where students can meet farmers and can exchange knowledge and can gain experience. And I wanted to run a food truck, and Local to Local had a big, giant orange beast in the courtyard. Yeah. And they let me run it for a week at the Tasty. I did buckwheat pancakes with purely local ingredients. And it was a fantastic experience, lots of fun, lots of work, and no profit margin. We covered the costs, but not the working costs. But I was hooked. The concept of local products and actually bringing them to people definitely kept me on. And so I stayed with Local to Local, listened to a lot of Mark Frederic's visions and system change ideas, and thought, yeah, this is great. I only understand half of it, but it sounds like it is the path to go. I did promotion events for Local to Local, which I never thought I would be a salesperson. But this is when I realized that when you really truly believe that this makes sense and this is where we should go for more local food. No one says 100%, just more local food. And it is possible for many of the inhabitants of Utrecht.
Mhm.
So this is what I did. I went to Utrecht Natuurlijk and had stands and did apple puzzles with family. And then I became a harvest hero in, I think, the second season. I had the fun of working at the pear orchard at William, which was fantastic. Finally being outside as a student, finally getting some sun in. That was great and really practical experience. And I got to know Martin and his whole idea of grounded more and more. And I was done with my studies, and we were looking, all of us, and we were mainly international students, were looking for a job in the Netherlands because we wanted to stay. Well, you don't want to have brain drain immediately, right? You want to stay and contribute. And it was really tricky to find a job because the expectation that was raised during studying was that with English we could get a job in the sustainability field, no problem. Also, the sustainability field is demanding so much, it will grow and you will easily get a job. That wasn't the case. I think only 2% of us got easily a job. Most of us looked for at least half a year, some for a year or longer. Most of us couldn't speak any word of Dutch. Luckily, I could because my partner is Dutch, and my Dutch family needed me to speak Dutch with them. They didn't want to talk in English, and so Local knew that, and I'm thankful to this day that one of the organizations, and it was Local, took the chance, didn't require an official certificate of me of like working level Dutch. And you really took a chance on me, and by letting me in on organizing Local talents, which was a bit outside of my expertise, but like organizing a student community seemed very, yeah, very fulfilling and very close to home, and so I could, after half a year, start at Local talents together with Martin and bring actually the student vibe that I had just left with me and connected with the regional food system idea, which I loved. And I think I mean, Mike, we worked really close these days. I think my Dutch improved like in no time. You let me write texts and everything. I wrote like half of the blog posts at some point. And that was amazing. Learning by doing at best. And well, COVID hit, or COVID restrictions hit. So the idea of Local talents couldn't grow as we had planned. But since we're Local, we pivoted, and this is what I learned a lot over the last 2 years at Local, or at EMT nowadays. I'm more involved at EMT, at the project organization, because I passed now through various stages at EMT, and I'm really grateful for learning this flexibility. And what I always also take with me now that I'm running my own organization here in Karlsruhe is to think in abundancy and think in the system. So I decided to move back to my home region, to my home soil, Southwest Germany, which I didn't expect I would want to do, but yeah, the restrictions and also being gone for 10 years really taught me how much I actually like where I grew up. And so I returned with Local in my luggage, still on job, and really with the idea to bring the concept into the region and looking for funding here and setting it up. But on the way of doing this, since Local is in a strategic partnership with Impact Hub, I actually got the opportunity, I got referred to Impact Hub Stuttgart, which is close by to here, and I got the opportunity to get to know the co-founder of Stuttgart, Markus Besch, and he said, well, actually, I would like to start an Impact Hub in Karlsruhe. What about it? Aren't you the perfect person to do that? And I was like, I did never think about it, but yes, I think so. Now you say it, it seems very fitting. As the next step was, like, I have a passion for sustainable entrepreneurship. This is also what I focused on in my master's, also in my master thesis. So to bring business economy together with sustainability now over the last years on the topic of food, but also in the broader sense, I find that highly fascinating and very urgent. So the Impact Hub brings that together, and it still leaves me the freedom to do food if I want to. So since, what is it? Well, officially since April 2022, I'm managing director of the Impact Hub Karlsruhe, of the cooperative Impact Hub Karlsruhe. If you followed the journey, it is a lot to go on. I mean, there's a dynamics change on a personal level as I grow in my leadership role, in my taking responsibility and actually having to take the lead, hoping for others to do it. So in that sense, it's a dynamics role, and through the foundation of the Impact Hub and this whole transition of not knowing for sure which of the potentials are actually going to work out, which of the seeds that I planted or that I have through local to local, which one is actually going to grow. And so it's a huge sense of uncertainty, of course. This is paired with this sense of urgency and desperation that a change needs to come really quick. Boundaries being trespassed. So changes being irreversible. And then also through the foundation, doing it in cooperation, in co-creation with others. It's a lot of frustration to collaborate on such a level, trying to establish something new, coming up with a new design. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It often felt like I'm being guided by other interests. The bureaucratic process of setting up a cooperative is huge. The bureaucratic process of getting into Impact Hub Global Network, it's huge. The process of getting funding, investments, it's huge. It's all very, being guided by other interests. Definitely still have to learn to balance this and not losing sight of my purpose and of my confidence that I can do this and that I'm the right person to do this. Not saying that others couldn't do it as well, but I'm on the spot now. And I got a lot of this confidence through my work at AMT. And luckily, although I'm not officially in the day-to-day part anymore, I'm still allowed to come there on a regular, a bit of mentorship even from all of you, and you cheer me on, which really helped. One note to the no-nonsense attitude. I think this is something that's highly appreciated at AMT team. This is what I've been told continuously, that my directness actually apparently trespasses even the directness of duchies. It's also empowered me that it's okay. This is how I am, and this works for a lot of people. I am now working on the Climathon, which will run at the end of October. It's an idea marathon or an idea hackathon for climate innovations, and it's a Europe-wide or even global program that we will run for the second time in Karlsruhe. We're now advertising for partners to put in challenges, and we're looking for participants that want to tackle those challenges in the 24 hours that a Climathon is. I would still like to integrate the topic of food more closely into Impact Hub Karlsruhe and into the region that Karlsruhe is, because there is a lot of food production around, but Karlsruhe is known for technology, for media ads, not for food. But I think it should be. And so I am in contact with building up a network here in Karlsruhe. And ideally, I would love to connect that with the learnings and academy that AMT is developing, and to actually develop a program that we can run in Karlsruhe, but can also multiply in any Impact Hub or any interested regional organization that trains food entrepreneurs on social business and on food transition, and the whole system thinking that bridges both of them. So connecting gain model and social entrepreneurship and network building, put this in a program and run this together with AMT and Impact Hub. This would be the dream professionally speaking. Personally speaking, I think I would love to set up a space for myself. I've been moving a lot over the last years, which is a huge privilege, but I've realized how nice it is to live in a village again. Back at the roots, it's so quiet, and I can actually go outside whenever and be in nature. So I would love to put up a space there, ideally also on combining food with learning, enjoyment, entertaining. So setting up, I think Martin called it safe.
Yeah.
I would probably add a camping, add some culture arts as well, and experience for families, for groups, to just come harvest together. Create a village for the day, probably just outside of the real village. The region is amazing, so I think we can definitely tap more into it. It's barely used in such a way. People are barely aware of the luxury they live in.